Here in this experiment, galvanometer shows deflection while inserting the magnet into the coil. While taking out also, the galvanometer shows deflection due to the small current. Small current produced in relation with the coil and the magnet. This phenomena is called electromagnetic induction. Here what happens? An induced current is produced. An induced EMF is produced due to electromagnetic induction. This device is called galvanometer. This is, I think you know, this is magnet. This is coil. It is an insulated copper wire. It is an insulated copper wire. It is in the form of solenoid.
Hi students, let us start today's class. We are going to study the lesson Electromagnetic Induction. Lesson 3 of class 10. This is our third class. In the previous class, you studied while inserting a magnet into the solenoid, a small current is produced. That process is called electromagnetic induction. Can you say what will be the direction of induced current formed here? Can you predict the direction of induced current? There is a rule related to the direction of induced current. We can easily understand the direction of induced current by using this rule, that is Fleming's right hand rule. We are going to study today about Fleming's right hand rule. Okay. This rule is discovered by the British scientist John Ambrose Fleming. So, due to this famous scientist John Ambrose Fleming, we can easily find the direction of induced current in relation to the solenoid and magnet. He discovered that the induced current or induced EMF would be maximum if the conductor is moved perpendicular to the magnetic field lines. Induced EMF or induced current would be maximum if the conductor is moved, if the solenoid is moved perpendicular to the magnetic field lines. That means magnet. He also said that the relation between direction of magnetic field, direction of movement of the conductor, that means our solenoid, and the direction of induced current could be explained in a simple way. That rule is Fleming's right hand rule. That rule is Fleming's right hand rule. According to this rule, imagine a conductor moving perpendicular to a magnetic field, like as in the picture. You can see a conducting wire, conductor. It is connected to a galvanometer. The blue color wire shows conductor that is connected to a galvanometer. You can see magnet here, magnetic field. Direction of magnetic field represents the violet color. Direction of motion of the solenoid represents green color. It is upwards, isn't it? The current is downwards. If we stretch our fingers, right hand fingers like this, stretch the forefinger, middle finger and the thumb in mutually perpendicular direction. This forefinger represents the direction of magnetic field. This forefinger represents the direction of magnetic field. Here it is in upwards in our picture. This Middle finger represents direction of magnetic field. This thumb represents the direction of motion of the conductor, that is upwards, isn't it? Direction of motion of the conductor is upwards. This forefinger represents the direction of motion of the direction of magnetic field. This forefinger represents the direction of magnetic field. It is in violet color in our picture. The violet color arrows represents the direction of magnetic field. This thumb represents the direction of motion of the conductor. That is in green color in our picture. This middle finger represents the direction of induced current formed here. The rule is Fleming's right hand rule. Who discovered it? Our Fleming's right hand rule. This is called Fleming's right hand rule. The scientist Fleming discovered this. He discovered that direction of induced current will be in the direction of middle finger. Motion of the conductor will be in the direction of the thumb. Thumb represents the direction of motion of the conductor. This forefinger represents the direction of the magnetic field. We can watch.
Fleming's rule. Fleming's rules help us to predict the movement of a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field and the direction of the induced current. Fleming's left-hand rule. When a wire carrying electric current is placed in a magnetic field, the magnetic field induced by the wire reacts with the applied magnetic field and the wire experiences a motion. Fleming's left-hand rule helps us to predict the movement. Fleming's left-hand rule. Extend the thumb, forefinger and the middle finger of the left hand in such a way that all the three are mutually perpendicular to each other. If the forefinger points in the direction of the magnetic field, the middle finger in the direction of the current, then the thumb points in the direction of the force exerted on the conductor. Fleming's right-hand rule. The current is induced in a coil of wire whenever there is a change in magnetic field. Fleming's right-hand rule helps us to predict the direction of the induced current. Fleming's right-hand rule. Stretch the forefinger, the middle finger, and the thumb of the right hand such that they are mutually perpendicular to each other. If the forefinger indicates the direction of the magnetic field, the thumb indicates the direction of motion of the conductor, then the middle finger indicates the direction of induced current in the conductor.
So I think you understood the Fleming's right hand rule. You already studied up left hand rule in the previous class. Now you study the right hand rule also. Okay? Let us see whether the current induced in a conductor from a magnetic field is same as the current obtained from a battery or cell. Here we got current due to the interaction between this conductor and the magnet. Is this current has any relationship between? Is it the same as the current obtained from a battery or cell? I think all of you glowed the bulb using battery or cell, isn't it? Yes. When you are young, when you were children, all of you glowed, most of you glowed the bulb by using a cell or battery, isn't it? Is the current obtained from a cell or battery is same as that of the current obtained to us? Now we are going to look. There are two types of current: alternating current and direct current. Direct current is represented by DC, and alternating current that current changes direction. Current that changes direction. That is called AC. In our case, in relation to the solenoid and magnet, we get the current that changes its direction. When we insert the magnet into the solenoid, the galvanometer shows reflection to one side. While taking out the magnet from the solenoid, galvanometer shows reflection to the opposite side. So we get a current that changes its direction. A cell that can be used in torch or torque is connected in series with a resistor and galvanometer, like as in the picture. A cell is connected to a resistor and galvanometer. Here, galvanometer shows deflection only to one side. That means the galvanometer moves only in one direction. That current obtained from this battery or cell is direct current. The galvanometer, we connected galvanometer, cell, resistor and switch in series. When the circuit is switched on, galvanometer shows deflection to only one side. So this current is unidirectional current. It flows only in one direction. The current obtained from a battery or cell is unidirectional. It flows only in one direction. Otherwise, the current obtained from a solenoid and magnet, in relation to the solenoid and magnet, we already saw galvanometer shows deflection to both sides. Here, in this case, the magnitude of the current is always same. Here it is 1.5 volt. This connected is 1.5 volt. So the magnitude of current will be same. But here what happens when we increase the speed of the magnet, speed of movement of the magnet? The current increases. Instead of magnet, we can increase the speed of motion of the solenoid. That time also current increases. While increasing the speed of motion, we can increase or decrease the current. So the magnitude varies or changes. Our galvanometer shows deflection to both sides. That means current changes its direction. So magnitude also changes when we increase the speed or decrease the speed of the motion of magnet or solenoid. So the current obtained from the cell is unidirectional and is of the same magnitude. But what are the peculiarities of the current obtained by electromagnetic induction? Yes, its direction changes. And it's while increasing the speed of the magnet, yes, magnitude changes. Current increases. We increase the speed of motion of the magnet or solenoid, what happens? Magnitude changes. The current increases. If we decrease the speed of motion of the magnet or solenoid, that time current decreases. If we increase the speed of motion of the magnet or solenoid, that time current increases. By changing the speed of motion, we can increase or decrease the current. So the magnitude changes. About this we can study in the next class. We can conclude what we studied today. Rule related to the direction of induced current is Fleming's right hand rule. Okay. Imagine a conductor moving perpendicular to a magnetic field. Stretch the forefinger, middle finger and the thumb of the right hand in mutually perpendicular direction. The forefinger represents the magnetic field, thumb represents the motion of the conductor, middle finger represents the direction of current. This rule is called Fleming's right hand rule. Okay. Current flowed through a battery or cell is unidirectional current. That current is called direct current. It cannot change its magnitude. The current flows according to the power of the cell. It is according to the voltage of the cell. It flows only in one direction. Current obtained from a battery flows only in one direction. When we connect galvanometer cell resistor into a circuit in series, galvanometer needle deflects to only one side. But in the second case, in the case of magnet and solenoid, galvanometer needle deflects to both sides. That means the current obtained in relation to the solenoid and magnet changes its direction. Current changes direction. So, from the circuit, galvanometer cell resistor and connected in series. From that circuit, we get current that flows only in one direction, because galvanometer needle deflects only to one side, that moves to only one side. In the second case, the galvanometer is connected to a solenoid. If we move the magnet continuously into the solenoid, then what happens? Galvanometer needle deflects to both sides. That current flows in both directions. So, it can be called alternating current. The current obtained from the cell is unidirectional. What are the peculiarities of the current obtained by electromagnetic induction? Its magnitude changes, its direction changes. About it we can study in the next class. More about it we can study in the next class. Okay, thank you.